Hello everyone and welcome to Vantage Corner. In this tutorial, we are going to configuring the mwan3 loss balancing with OpenWRT, and I will just show you how the network topology look like from the Cisco's packet tracers application. So as you can see, we have the internet service provider 1 and the internet line connected to our router. And we have another internet service provider, which is the second provider, right? And it's also connected to our router. And we are going to loss balance the two internet connections with our OpenWRT router. And this is how the device physically looks like. So here we have the D-Link DIR842C2. And it is currently running the OpenWRT version. So we have here the primary internet connection. This is go to the 1 port, and the second internet connection go to our LAN port number 1. So later on, we will be configuring this port as a 1 port and a secondary 1 port, right? And I have just make another video about how to configure your LAN port at a 1 port. So you may check out the link on the top corner. In this video, I will just walk through it and I will not talk detail about it, but you can still check out the previous video for further information. The tutorial is made based on the OpenWRT to mwan3, which is multiple 1.3. So we have a very long documentation here, and you can just read through it, right? The OpenWRT loss balancing is based on Linux. It doesn't support section based but just IP based, which means your link will not bound together. For example, you have a 100 Mbps lines and you want to combine them together. In theory, you will have 200 Mbps. In this case, it will still 100 Mbps, but just that your traffic will be loss balanced between the two internet connections. Now let's just log into the router and just do that. So I will be navigate to 192.168.1.1 and then log into it. Alright, good. So let's go to a system. We first go to our switch and check, right? Okay, so here as you can see, I have made another VLAN, which is VLAN ID 3, and the CPU port is tagged and the LAN 1 port is untagged, so that it will be assigned to the new VLAN. And this is our 1B, right? And if you have no idea how to do, you can just copy my configuration here on the switch interface. By following this one, you will have 1 port, and the secondary 1 port is your LAN port 1, and the rest is just your LAN port, right? So click save and apply. Alright, let's go to networks interfaces. I will just delete this one first. I will just click save and apply. Alright, so this is how your interfaces look like when you have no new one created. So you have your LAN interface and your WAN interface. So I am going to add the new interface to the system from the new VLAN I had just newly created. So I will put the name at 1B, and it will be running on DHCP client. If you are running on PPPoE or whatever protocol you are, then you just configure it accordingly. But in my case, it's just a DHCP client, so I will just leave it there. And on the interface, you need to specify your newly created VLAN, and in my case, it's Ethernet 0.3. Right, so as you can see, Ethernet 0.1 for LAN, Ethernet 0.2 for your first WAN connections, and Ethernet 0.3 for your secondary internet connections. Click create it. And a little thing we need to check is that go to the firewall setting and add it to our WAN zone. When we're done, click save. Click save and apply. Alright, so we have just create our secondary internet connection, and it has an interface name mwan3. And please bear in mind that the one interface is case sensitive, which means you need to declare the correct name on your network interfaces and on the multi-WAN application so that the system can work properly. And I have forgot about one thing, that is the metric. You need to configure your interface metric as well. So let's click edit. This is the first one interface, and go to advanced settings. So here we have the use gateway metric, and we put it the value at 10. This is for the first one interface. And go to the secondary one connection and set the metric at 20. Each of the interface should have a specific metric so that it can work with multi-WAN. Click save and apply. Let's go back to our tutorial and hardware single WAN port. Okay, so far we have just successfully created our first WAN interface and secondary WAN interface. Alright, look good. And I will just skip the verified internet connection because I can show that it's working fine. So let's go to the system, software, and install our multi-WAN application. So the first step you need to do is to update the list. Just give it a little time, it will take some time to update the list. And besides Luci, we can still configure multi-WAN by using our command line, but this is quite advanced and I will not talk about it in this video. So if you wish, then you can still spend time reading documentation and have your own research. So we have just updated the list, and let's install the multi-WAN application. It will be mwan3, right? Okay, so you need to install two packages. The mwan3, which is the core application which will run on the router, and Luci F mwan3 in order to configure the multi-WAN via your Luci, which is your web interface. So let's click install one by one. Alright, so we have just successfully installed the mwan3's application, but because I have previously installed the application on my router, so there will be some error, but we can just ignore that. Click dismiss and we need to log in. Okay, never mind. Alright, so we have just installed the first package and we need to install the second package as well. So let's just do it. mwan3 Luci F, right? Install. For best multi-WAN support, you need to look for the device with like at least 60 megabytes of flash memory and 128 megabytes of RAM, so that everything can work properly. With less memory and less RAM, perhaps you can still install and configuring load balancing, but the CPU may like overload it and you will have some trouble. We then click log out and log in back. Alright, now go to network and we have a new menu which is load balancing. So if you perform a fresh installation of multi-WAN, you will have a lot of interfaces, you will have a lot of members, and you will have a lot of policies and rules. In my case, I had installed the application previously, and unfortunately all of the configuration is still stored on the router. So if you have a lot of interfaces, you can just remove all of them. And here we need to pay attention to the main interface. So we have our first WAN connection. Let's go and click edit. Alright, so this is the initial state which will be online, and you need to enable the interface so that it can up, right? So this tracking host IP, so OpenWRT Multi1 will try to ping an IP address, and if it receives the response from the host, it will assume that the internet connection is up and running. So here we have one of the public IP for Google, and this is the one of the provider. I'm not sure but where they get this IP, but it's in the OpenWRT default configuration. So the tracking method will be ping, and tracking reliability, which means how many hosts it should receive the response before it say the interface up. If I change this value into 2, OpenWRT will be waiting for the response from this IP and this IP before it assumes that the interface up. But in my case, I will just put 1. So if the OpenWRT receives the response from either 8.8.8 or 208.67.222.222, it will say that the interface up. And this is the ping count and the ping size, the max TTL, we just leave it default, and the ping timeout. So those are the system default parameters, and I would suggest not to edit it. Alright, so interface down. The interface will be down after this many failed ping test. Click Save and Apply. Okay, there's nothing to change, right? So this is our first WAN connection, and let's just go back to our secondary WAN connection. So here we have our 1B, and yep, let's just click edit. So yeah, this is how I put my configuration. You can just do your own. Once you're done, click Save and Apply. But I have nothing to change for now. And let's move to the second tab, which is member. So as it says, members are the profile attaching to a metric and weight to a multi-WAN interface. So member interface with lower metrics are U first, and member interface with the same metric will be loss balance. And loss balance member interface distribute more traffic out, though with higher weight. So it's very easy. Just in case, I will just delete this. I will just delete everything. And I will just do it from scratch so that you can see how I do it. Alright, let's go back and add our first one member. So it will be one member. Alright, so the interface, I will attach the first one connection to it, and the metric will be 1 and the weight will be 1. Do you still remember we have just said that the member interface with the same metric will be loss balance, right? So we will put our second members with the metric 1 as well. So it will be 1B member. Click Add. Select the interface 1B, and the metric will be 1 and the weight will be 1, so that it can loss balance. Click Save and Apply. Back to overview. Okay, alright. Good, so we have just done with multi-WAN member. And let's go to policies. I will just delete this loss balance policy, and there will be no policy. Right, let's just create our policy. I will put it loss balance. Click Add, and then select our member, 1 member and 1B member, and the last result will be unreachable. Click Save and Apply. and then back to overview. Right, perfect. So we have just done. Let's go back to our last one, will be rule, and here we have some of the default rule. We have the HTTPS and default rule v4 and default rule v6, and you can just add your custom rule, let's say a ping or a DNS lookup rule, and you want to route the traffic to a specific interface or how, then you can do your own, but we will just check our first rule. Alright, so the policy assigned, it will be loss balance. This is the policy that we have just created. If we're not the system default, click Save and Apply. Good. And then do the same for this default rule v4. So we're done with the configurations, and let's go back to the status, loss balancing, and check it out. Alright, so we have our two interfaces always up and running. Let's go to detail, and you will see we have loss balance. It will be 1B 50% and 1 50%. So the current profile is loss balancing. Right, look good. Let's do some of the tests. So let's go back to our network interfaces and check. We have our two network interface 1 and 1B. So I will just restart those interface so that the statistic will be reset to 0, and we will check if the packets are distributed between the two interfaces or not. Click restart. Alright, so all the sessions have been reset to default. Alright, perfect. So as you can see, it is 20 kilobytes, and then this one is 1 kilobyte. So let's just do some of the random stuff. youtube.com. And we just leave it there, and then I will just do some of the, let's say, test file. Try to download some things. Save the file, please, and then try to download it. Try to skip the ad. Okay. Alright. Run. Alright, so as you can see, we have like 3 more, so which means the mutual one is actually working at the moment. Right, and let's just go back to our interfaces. Network interfaces, let's refresh. Alright, as you can see, we have the traffic has been loss balancing between the two interfaces. We have the RX data from this interface and this interface all increasing, so we can assume that the loss balancing is currently working fine. And that's all about how you configuring the loss balancing with OpenWRT. And just one more thing before we end the section. So you may ask me, what if I am running IPv6? So for IPv6, you will have 1, and then you will have another 1.6, right? And you need to create another interface for 1B and 1B6. Okay, so once you got all this interface, you need to go to your loss balancing. On this multi-1 interface, you need to add 1.6 and 1B6 into this. And on your 1 member, you need to like add your 1.6 member and your 1B6 member to it. And once you're done, you need to go to the policies, and then on the loss balance, you need to specify all those 4 members, which is 1 member, 1.6 underscore member, and 1B underscore member, and 1B6 underscore member. Or maybe it's a little bit confusing for you, but I will just do it for this time. So let us just add the new interface, and then I will put like 1.6. So for demonstration purposes, I will not attach any interface to it. So we just put 16, click save, and then add a new interface, 1B6, create interface, save, and click save and apply, right? And then you need to assign is a matrix, right? So physical interface, advanced settings, and just now we have assigned 10 and 20, so it will be 30. And this one, 40. Alright, cool. So click save and apply. And let's go back to our loss balance. Okay, it will be 16, right? Click add. Okay, so for your track, the internet protocol, you need to select Alright, so for the internet protocol, you need to select IPv6, and the tracking host IP address will be the Google IPv6. So Google IPv6 A.A.A.A. What it is? Let's just copy it and paste here, and yeah, you can put just the second one. This is A.A.4.4. click add, right? Ping one, this will just default, click save, right? Oh, as you can see, the download is still running in the background. Let's go. Create another interface, 1B6, add. Alright, we need to enable, I'm sorry, but I forget that's for the first 16 interface. So IPv6, and then ping, and then the host name, click add. The second IP, click add, save and apply. Well, it's a 26 minutes for now, so it's quite a long video, but I try to make everything more detailed as possible so that you can easily do it. Let's go back to overview. Alright, cool. So we have just all these configurations. As you can see, the different interfaces have different metrics. And let's go back to the member, and one member, 1B member, so it will be 16. Alright, member. One six, metric 1, weight 1. And then go back to, okay, 1B6 member. Click add, select the interface 1 and 1. Save and apply. And go back to overview. So when we're done with the members, let's go to our policies and click edit. So here we just add the IPv6 interface that we have just created, and here select your 16 member and your 1B6 member, select save and apply. And lastly, go to the rules, and then on the default rule v6, select edit, and then change it to the policy that we have just created, right? So it's with loss_balance. Click save and apply. And that's all. You have successfully created a loss balancing between two WAN interfaces with OpenWRT. And if you have any idea or questions, feel free to leave it in the comment sections. And as always, if you see the video is helpful, please like, share and subscribe to the channel to support me. And perhaps in the next video I will make a tutorial about the mwan3 in the failover mode, or maybe mwan3 failover mode with the LTE 4G module. And once again, thank you for watching. I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye bye.